Hey folks, I wanted to record an announcement that I gave in classes yesterday, but I wanted to do it without a mask on, so I'm standing out here on the front lawn in some really beautiful sunny weather. Don't seem to see any clouds. Um, we know that everyone's stress level is really high, um, and you might not know how widespread it is, and I think that there's a real benefit to knowing. Um, so, to give you an idea, in any given year, we might see like 3 or 4 students who aren't turning in assignments on time, um, missing a lot of work. But there are a lot of you who are turning things in late. Um, so, when we see a pattern like that, the issue is it's a group issue. It's a community issue. And I just want to remind you that nothing's changed in our policy. So um, we're not going to say that this or that assignment is not important and just skip it or ignore it, because they all matter and they all are going to be helpful to you in terms of learning this form of communication and reading texts and finding inference and nuance in life and things that we read, but more broadly in life. It's an important skill. But if you're struggling, those of you who communicate with us, we're going to help you. We can help you with time frames. We can help you with understanding the material. And I also want to mention, too, that there are not really very many assignments that you need to try to do, quote, perfect, to do them perfectly. You could make a lot of mistakes in the homeworks that we're giving. The place to try out and test out your ideas is in class discussion and in homework preparation, which is preparation for the next class. When it comes to close reading, when it comes to essays, that sort of thing, you want to try to put more of an effort forth or try to make sure that everything is correct. But even there, you're going to make mistakes. And guess what? That's what school is for. I mean, that's what we're here for. So on the topic of stress, you may have heard me say this before in class, but it's definitely worth repeating. I've had my fair share of anxiety and panic and stress over the years, and I honestly, truthfully, would not be a teacher if it weren't for meditation. And I just wanted to mention this to you briefly because it's an important practice if you're open to it, and you don't have to be. It's becoming a trend, and I have not always been comfortable talking about it because it's a personal thing that I do, and I started in 1999, and it transformed my life. Meditation, there are 2 reasons why I'm very comfortable and confident talking about it now. I don't think they're in any particular order, but say the first reason is there is ample science now behind the benefits of meditation. It's kind of like saying if you take a deep breath, your body is going to respond differently. Or let me give you a better example. If you eat healthy food, then your body will have more energy and you'll be able to perform better in sports, and you'll be able to think better. Well, we know that and we accept that. The science is very clear. With the science of meditation, what we're talking about here is taking control, taking ownership of our minds, our body-mind system, really. And you can verify this yourselves. Check into Dr. Richard Davidson. He's been, for I think 2 decades now, examining people in MRI machines doing meditation, and he can say this primal fight or flight response system in your brain, the amygdala, is reduced. The activity in that zone is reduced, and then the more recently evolved portion of the brain, the anterior cingulate, the activity there, which is associated with well-being and compassion, sense of peace, is increased. So that's what happens. What I want to do is just invite you to do a meditation with me, and it's very straightforward, and this is a public school. You have there's no requirement for you to do this. You're free thinkers. I would invite you to try it. This is completely secular. There's no spiritual or religious connection here. It's only, that's just something if you want to pursue it. Yeah, meditation comes from some pretty ancient traditions and religions and spirituality, things like that. But as a practice, it's I would just say it's like doing cardio. It's like eating healthy. So mindfulness and meditation are the same thing. People, for some reason, in pop culture are splitting the two out, but mindfulness begins when you're aware of yourself in the environment, in the world. So I just became aware of my sleeves, and that sounds silly, but that's it, right? So the fabric on my arms isn't something I'm aware of typically, because what do I need to be aware of it for? But when our minds are out here, when we're reacting to stresses that are not concrete, one of the best things we can do is ground ourselves. So my hand on this tree, I can feel the texture. It's getting me to move away from the anxiety I'm feeling. It's that simple. A word about fight or flight response. So anxiety, panic, these things come from a fight or flight response, which is quite natural. If a bear is chasing you, or a bear suddenly appears on a trail in front of you, you should either fight like hell or run like hell. And the feelings you have would be terror, and all of that would make perfect sense. Well, here we have a pandemic. We've got this general anxiety and trauma that we're sharing here, and some of us feel it more intensely than others. Well, so first, recognize that the fight or flight response is not going to be beneficial. And then second, ground yourself. The meditation that I want you to try is inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. And I want you to see how simple all of this is. Notice that we're really demanded to be critical thinkers, and we are immersed in school in complexity, and our brains are not encouraged to turn off. That's kind of like modern culture, modern society is dismissive of turning off our brains and letting them just rest. Well, you need to, just like your phones do. Your phone starts acting funny, turn it off, turn it back on, and it had a chance to reboot. So reboot, here's how you do it. Notice your breathing. All I'm doing is noticing the air as it goes through my nostrils into my lungs. And then I'm noticing when it starts to come back out. And you can count 1 to 10 and then start over again. And that's a meditation. That's a mindfulness piece. But there's a new one that I learned about 2 years ago. It's called Susukan. It's a Japanese word that roughly means extension of the out-breath. And it goes like this. Real simple. You inhale naturally through your nose, and then you exhale. And when you reach the point where, my body's going to inhale again, you push the rest of the air out to your furthest extent without gasping. And that's it. So I'd like you to do that with you for 1 minute, and then we're going to stop. So I'll demonstrate, and then we'll do it. It's you're going to inhale and exhale through your nose, and then I'm going to exaggerate the sound of my exhalation so you get a sense of how far I exhale, but you don't have to exhale as far as I do. Over time, your lungs get bigger. All right, now before we do our 1 minute, I want to just tell you that I think of myself as a healthy skeptic. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to question everything, and I encourage you to. So I was like, all right, does this work? A friend of mine graduated from UPenn many years ago, and he did a lot of work in brain behavior and biofeedback and things like that. And he said that, yeah, sure, this works. And he told me exactly what's happening in the body. And it's what I described earlier. You're triggering your your body to kick itself out of the fight or flight mode and into this more sense of well-being. So let's try it. 1 minute. That's about 3 or 4 of those breaths. Go at your own pace. Thanks, folks. I feel more centered myself, and I just want you to know we're all in it together, and that's really true, and we're here for you. So let us know if you need anything. Text, email,